welcome back to my channel, everybody. My name is Rick Bork. If you haven't seen my channel before, I don't know what to say at this point. So we're back working on this 2004 F150 with the frame rod issue, and we're going to finish welding up this outside. If you've seen my previous video where I ran out of argon, then you'll know why I'm finishing this up. Then we're going to jump over and do the inside and the bottom of this frame rail, and we'll come back later and do the driver's side in another video. So I'm going to get back to welding. Stick around and we'll show you what we got going on. So this is the first piece we're going to put on the inside of the frame. You can see we've got it roughed out, and we got to do some final trimming to get it to fit the way we want it. So we're going to cut this out. We're going to get it fit the way we like, and we're going to start plating from the back forward. We plated from the forward back on the first time. Now we're going to go from the back to the front, and then we'll plate the bottom. Now we're going to cut off another piece here, 8 inches wide, 4 feet long. That's going to be another piece of the plate for the inside of the frame. Alright, so that's the first piece for the inside of our frame. As you can see there, I kind of did a rotation where I cut one out with the torch while that one's cooling off. I can grind on this one, and that way I get into this rotation where I'm always doing something. I'm waiting for a piece to cool off, and I have something to do while it's doing that. Otherwise, you're just going to have way too much time to drink beer and the project's going to go awry. Trust me. Alright, so working on the inside of this frame comes with its own challenges. You have the exhaust system, fuel tank, drive shaft, all of that stuff that's on the inside of the frame that's in the way. I cut the muffler out of this thing. The muffler was rusted out anyway. We just put that little downspout on there. This thing's straight pipe now, but I mean, ideally if you go back and cut this clamp that would be forward of the muffler or take the exhaust system out, that's going to give you a lot more room in here. With this straight pipe, I'm just going to work around it, so it's no big deal. We're going to get this first one tacked in here. We'll get it tacked in here, and while that other plate's cooling off, once this one's tacked in, then we'll go out and we'll start cutting forward as those plates are cooling down. Then we'll come back and finish welding this one. So we just got a revolving process here, so that way there's no downtime waiting for something to cool off or having to cool it off with water. The other disadvantage to working underneath here like this is you're pretty much going to get rained on with all the sparks from welding because it's pretty hard to get away from them. And this is another case where this frame is starting to curve in to make clearance for the rear shocks, the rear axles, the rear axle, leaf springs, things like that. So we're going to have to conform this a little bit, just a little bit to make sure it fits right. So we'll have to do a little pounding as we heat it up with the welder. If you weld a little bit, then pound that plate in, it'll form to the frame right here. There's just a slight curve to it, so it's not a huge deal, but just weld a little bit, pound it in, and get it to fit nice and tight against that old frame. So we're going to keep welding on this a little bit, and then we're going to jump out and cut some more plate. Okay, so we can plate the inside of this frame in two pieces because we got the one piece coming down that follows the curve of the frame down. The other piece is just one straight long piece. All we had to notch out for was the cross member going through the frame. So we just made this one piece for covering up all the holes that are in there. That way we don't have all that water intrusion and all that. So we're going to weld this plate in. Then we're going to start getting this bottom piece cut. That's probably going to be two pieces because it's going to extend back past. We'll weld the seam on it, and then on our low point we're going to cut a drainage hole. That way if any water gets trapped in that frame, it can get out. It doesn't sit in there and fester. So then we might actually have a high strength steel frame. Nice job, Ford. I always love how things are engineered to fail. They're not engineered to last, they're engineered to fail. They don't care about longevity. They want to know when it's going to fail, so that way they know when they're going to get to sell you another one. If they last forever, then they don't have a market. Think about that, folks. Alright, folks. This is the last piece we're going to put in on this side. That'll finish off the plating on the bottom of the frame. It extends past the seam by about 3 inches. We're going to wrap it because the bottom of the frame is tapered there. So as we weld forward, we're going to pound that up to match the contour of the frame there. Then we'll give you guys an overall view of what we did on this side. We'll wrap this one up, and then the next video we'll move on to doing the driver's side. So if we come over to the inside here, you can see we're going to have a little finish welding up to do along this seam. But you'll get an overall idea of what I did here. The inside is just 2 plates. You can see I cut it out and fit it around the cross member that goes through. I cut the exhaust hanger off the frame, welded that back onto the new plate. You can see the seam right here. I'm going to come back and weld that when I got argon again. You can see how this fits around the leaf spring mount. And we kind of gusseted it in before it came about here, and that frame continued down. So we gusseted that to try to make up for some of the strength that the frame might have lost from rusting. You can see where we fit this around the bed mount. Back on the outside here, you can see where everything fits around. So if you guys are going to plate these frames, just make sure all those joints are fitting nice and tight. A little bit of an 1/8 inch gap is good for weld penetration. Make sure you fit them around your body mounts, your cab mounts, cross members, things like that, and weld those seams up the best you can. That's going to keep the water from getting in back behind that plating. And what we're going to do is we're going to drill a hole in the bottom here on the low point. The frame slopes forward slightly, so at the low point we're going to drill a hole in there for drainage. So that way anything that does get in there will hopefully run out. Periodically we're going to want to go in there and clean that thing out so that way it's not getting plugged up, holding water in there. Once we're done plating both these sides of the frame, we're going to do the driver's side in another video. We got to remove the fuel tank, things like that. But once we're done with that, then we're going to come back and we're going to use a bed liner on this frame. Once it gets a little surface rust on it, it'll take better, it'll hold better. So that'll be another video after we do the driver's side. And we got a few other things to do on this truck yet. But that wraps up the passenger side. I do appreciate you guys watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again next time.